Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're disappointed with the outcome of last week and what was it Tuesday, 3 days ago. Certainly had our opportunities to claw our way back into that football game after an absolutely horrific first quarter. Had it 20-19 there for a second, and, or we thought, and it wasn't. And then thought we were going to get it to a one-score game and missed a field goal. And then even with that being said, after they completed a long pass, got a big turnover, went down and scored, got it back to a two-score game there late in the fourth quarter, and then we're unable to convert and get that to a one-score game and then possibly take the lead at the end of the game there. Give Florida State a lot of credit. If you look at the film, they're a good football team. I know a lot's been said about them, the expectations, and they have good football players. And they certainly they out-executed us at key moments. Now, with that being said, I'll also say this is when you have 4 turnovers and you turn the ball over 0 and you have the ball that many times in the red zone, there's no excuse for that lack of execution by the offense. And we've been working hard at that this week. We're going to continue to work hard at that and try to change that. And we need to because of the opponent that we're playing coming up, certainly with Eastern Michigan, who's a fine football club. I think that anybody who has any preconceived notions of what Eastern Michigan is, or if you're just not that familiar and maybe you're going off of past decade ago or whatever Eastern Michigan was back, or maybe longer than that, this is not them. They're a very good football team. They have some dynamic football players on both sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams. Kicker and punter are playing extremely well. It's just a team that won't beat themselves, and they're going to be in every game, and they have been. I know they feel like they let one slip away last weekend, and certainly watching the film, I agree with them. You give San Diego State credit, they're a fine football team too, but I really feel like they had Eastern had them right where they wanted them on the whole deal. So it's a good football team. We're going up to their place. We're playing a night game. It's a conference game, so you have a lot of information on them. They have a lot of information on us from playing every year. And certainly, I think this is Coach Creighton's 4th year. I can't remember, but so 4 times, same staffs basically too with that. So it's like any conference game. It will be a struggle, and it's going to come down to probably those 4 plays that I always say determine a football game. If you can execute those 4 plays, then you usually come out ahead. And we certainly need to dot our I's and cross our T's with this one because it's a good football team. So with that, I will open it up for questions.
Glad to be back in the MAC for the next 3 weeks.
You flip back into the MAC and you go at it. The MAC, I think I told you from my summer study this summer, is that this is the deepest the MAC has been, and as good as the MAC has ever been, in my estimation. I know we had, as a conference, maybe some question marks with a lot of the players we had leaving the conference last year, top-end players. But knowing the recruiting that's all been done by everybody, us included, it's as deep as it can be. So I don't know that I would use the word happy. I think there's a lot of familiarity.
Looks like they kind of rotate between or switch between the 2 quarterbacks. What have you seen, and how do you prepare for that? Like, how do they use
Well,
them?
the one kid is completing over 70% of his passes, and the other kid is not that far behind in his completion percentage, and he uses his feet probably a little bit more than the other kid. Although the other kid can run too, he just gets the ball out a little more, on time and in rhythm. They're playing 2 quarterbacks because they have 2 good quarterbacks. They're not playing 2 because one has this deficiency or one has this deficiency. They're playing 2 quarterbacks because they're both good, and their team has responded to it.
How do you prepare for that, I guess? Does it
Well,
change anything?
it changes some, but not a ton, because they're both in there running the same offense. It's not like the offense completely changes. Obviously, they call plays to one kid's strengths more than the others, but you're not going to see an all of a sudden different formatted offense.
Very much frustration right now with the team. I mean, what's gone so far this year?
Oh, I don't know that frustration is necessarily the word. I think there's certainly some frustration. I think that there is disappointment, resolve. This team is a tough-minded team that is together and certainly unfazed inside by the events that have taken place so far, and very focused on what's in front of them. I like this team. I've said it from the start. They have something that I don't know that I've seen in some other teams that we've coached around here. They're not going to let a slow start necessarily, when you look at it from the outside, affect the way that they attack things. They haven't.
How encouraging is that to see that level of character with the 1-3 team? Extremely for our team. I think that while there are some things we need to work on and we need to get better, there's no doubt. I mean, you can't miss that, is that this team is bonded together and their resolve is high. And they flew around on the practice field yesterday. I expect them, they were great in meetings this morning. I expect them to be great on the practice field today. So everyone's got a bad taste in their mouth. Don't get us wrong. But we're looking forward to the opportunity we got this weekend.
How are you feeling about the offense right now?
Well, it's not, I mean, no one could sit here and say, I'm okay with it, that it's good enough. Believe me, it's not. And we're working hard to change it. We have good players and we have good coaches, and we need to execute. That comes from coaching and players better. Certainly thought we did a lot of things better in that game than we had in past games as far as throwing the ball, but certainly wasn't enough. I mean, this bottom line wasn't enough, and so we need to do more. We need to cross the goal line a little more. It's pretty simple, but there's a lot that goes to it.
That's the most surprising thing so far of the offense, maybe?
I always want to temper anything like that, and I would be honest with you guys. I don't ever usually, sugarcoat anything with how I'm feeling. You guys know me. I usually wear my emotions on my sleeve. Is that I want to temper the offensive thing a little bit. Is the 4 defenses we played. I don't know where Florida State's ranks and stats. I know people look at that, but I know Utah and Iowa's is pretty good. I know Central's is pretty good, no matter what their stats say too. And I know this defense we're about to play is as good, if not better, in all of them. And I mean that in every way, shape, or form. I mean, this defense is really good. So I want to temper some of that surprise with seeing some good defenses.
What do you think's got to change on the offense to cross the goal line a little more?
Well, sometimes you got to catch it before you put a heel out of bounds, right? Sometimes you got to finish a block to get it in. Sometimes you got to get yourself in position so you can move the ball down the field to cross the goal line. Just plain and simple timing and execution. That's offensive football. At times we have it, and the majority of the time so far in 4 games we have not.
Is that just focus right now?
I think it's a lot of everything. You could certainly throw focus in there, not just with the players, but with the coaches as well. And I don't mean that focus is like everyone's aloof. I certainly don't mean that. I mean just really dialed in on what our jobs are. And that's all of us. Not any one person or one group. That's all of us.
Why the success against these guys? I mean, you went 16 out of 17, 10 in a row. I mean, is that one of these teams you guys always play good against?
Yeah, I don't think that has any bearing on this game. And the last 2 games have been overtime games. You know, I don't know that, okay, we're playing a team in green and white, so we like playing those colors, so we'll play better. I don't think that. Matchups, football's a game of matchups. We have some really tough matchups. I think they have some really tough matchups. I think you have 2 good football teams, and when you get 2 good football teams together, yeah, it's who's going to out-execute each other on those matchups. You guys are easy today.
I was gonna say they have.
Not yet. Not yet.
Sorry. I was trying to see what position he played for sure, but it didn't say easily with that Crosby kid. I assume.
DN.
Yeah. Going against the defensive end, it's can cause a lot of havoc. I mean, how prepared are you for?
So it's been funny. So the Iowa defensive ends, pretty good. The Utah defensive end, pretty good. The Central defensive ends are no slouches. Like they're good, tough, physical kids that productive. The 2 DNs we just got done playing, number 99, they're saying is going to be a high draft pick. For my 2 cents, I would rate Max ahead of all those kids we play. I think that he's that good and that dynamic. So he's a good one. It's as high a compliment as I can pay him right now. And we haven't played slouches, so I think that's some good comparison there.
So you feel right now this may be the best Eastern team, not against the other ones you've played, but maybe the best talent?
The
right?
best one. I don't think it's even close. I really don't. It's the best one.
What areas are they better? I mean, than
Well, they got their whole line returning, and they play good and physical. They have 2 quarterbacks that are playing pretty well, and their quarterback last year was good. Their receivers, although they lost a bunch, are a group that has been in their program for the most part, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them. But so they understand the offense. They have a good slot receiver that can do some things. They have a good, tough running back, and they have a dynamic running back. Their defensive front 7 is as good as we've played. Their boundary corner would have started for any team that we've played so far. And their boundary safety is a moved field linebacker from last year, who's a physical kid who's a really smart football player, and their 2 other secondary kids are good players. So the better question would have been, who do you think isn't good?
so they're better in every position you feel right now.
Every position.
Who do you think isn't good?
Yeah, that's good. I said ask that question. Right? I said ask that question. Yeah, well, even if I did think someone wasn't good, I wouldn't tell you, right? So.
Speaking of stuff you won't tell us, how are Kyle and Albert doing?
No, I'll tell you. Kyle is, day to day, I think the day to day is a lot better. I expect to see him out there today on the practice field. Everything we've got is, let's get him practicing, and then we got to reevaluate that way. Albert is very much in a situation where it's day to day, and I don't expect to see him today on the practice field. But again, with day to day guys, you just don't know until that day, right? Al could show up tomorrow and be ready to go, and could not. Kyle ready to go today and not tomorrow. It's just football. It's just what it is.
Coach was talking about the resolve of this team, even though you're 1-3. What's the feeling in the room right now, heading into a fresh week and a conference game this Saturday?
Hey, we're 1-0 in conference right now, and we look at every week as we got to be 1-0, and that's kind of the feeling that we have. We're really starting our conference slate now, and that has everyone's hopes up. We love getting into conference play, and I think I don't really think anyone's that bothered too much by the 1-3 record. I think we're all just ready to go start getting conference games under our belt.
Devontae?
Yeah, like Lou said, we're excited to start our conference game. We want to know right now. We plan on having a good week of practice this week, going out and do what we gotta do on the field Saturday.
Yeah, I think no one's really bothered by the 1-3 start. I mean, obviously there's some games we should have won, but we played 4 excellent teams so far, and Eastern Michigan's no slouch, and we're just looking to have a good week of practice and go 2-0 conference.
Luke, how are you guys balancing, I guess, kind of the mental aspect of this one, going against an Eastern team that you guys have done really well against of late, but also knowing that this is apparently a very different Eastern Michigan team than you guys have faced before?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the last few years been really good games with Eastern. You know, 2 overtime games. They've really given us everything they have, and they're no different this year. I mean, they're a really good team, and we know that going in and on film. And I think, you know, it as an offense, definitely, you know, we're excited for the challenge. We're excited to get a conference team that's, you know, that's good and that's going to challenge us. And I think we're kind of ready to, you know, kind of get some of the stuff that maybe we haven't played as well as we wanted to the last 4 games. And I think, you know, this week's kind of our week that we really want to, you know, put it all together finally, I think.
Cole, what do you think you guys have to do to kind of improve on offense kind of as a whole?
I think we need to fix some timing things, quarterback and receiver. You know, we had a better day against Florida State, but there's some timing things, some route issues we can fix. And being more, specifically for the receivers, be more physical on the outside, you know, getting off the press and all that. That'll be a big challenge this week.
Luke, what have you seen that you guys need to improve on the offensive front?
You know, he hit on the you know, the more skilled player aspect. I'm gonna hit on the O-line. You know, as an O-line, I think that, you know, we're a few plays away from, you know, playing really good games. We've not necessarily played how we wanted to, and I think that's a lot of, you know, just finishing, you know, certain plays. We haven't really, you know, finished a game yet how we wanted to, you know, finishing every play like we want to, because as an offensive line, you can be, you know, 75, 85% of your one-on-one battles, you can win those, but if not everyone's doing it at the same time, you know, plays break down. And that's how we're looking at, you know, as an offensive line, we're looking at going into this week of practice is finish, because we really need to put the team on our back as an offensive line. I think we have a lot of experience, and we can, you know, we need to kind of take the team on our back and do it ourselves.
Devontae, it looks like they kind of rotate out a couple quarterbacks, that sort of thing. How does that complicate things when you're preparing for a team, or does that not matter?
I think it matters a little bit, just you gotta know which quarterback you get. One of them like to run the ball or something not open. The other one, he likes to like throw the ball down the field. So you just gotta watch film on both of them. It's no big deal for real.
Defensively, you guys forced 4 turnovers last week. Just overall, how are you feeling on I guess that front?
Just I guess up front.
No, I mean from that aspect.
How do you feel that you guys were able to force 4 turnovers last week, and how do you carry that into this week?
That was exciting having the turnovers. They obviously thought they were going to be just able to do whatever they want to do against us. But we were ready. We practiced hard the whole week. And I just feel like we got to practice hard every week and treat every game like it's the same. You got to come out every week with the same mentality. We need to get the ball.
Devontae, you kind of stepped up and had the start last week, and you know, stepped in for Albert. So what was that feeling like, and being able to do that at Florida State?
It was a good feeling. I was feel like I was prepared for it. It was Florida State, so I was excited to play them. But I had fun. It was a good game. Some stuff I got to still work on, but it was fun starting against a big team.
It's kind of like going to a week like last week, or I guess a week like this week, where you're not 100% sure whether you're going to start or not.
That's okay. I mean, we gonna all play. Our coach got that. We know all 3 senior quarters we gonna play. So it's no big deal.
Cole, you and Marcus picked up for 6 completions last week, and that was, you know, the most as a freshman, like, you know, redshirt freshman getting through those first 4 games. Are you feeling more comfortable with the offense and what you need to do to, you know, make those connections?
Yeah, definitely, you know, got more comfortable last game. I mean, I've been moving from the inside to the slot a lot in these first 3 games. And, you know, it just depends on the personnel we have out there. With Spencer coming back, it kind of shifted. But, yeah, I think me and Mark are starting to get a little more comfortable with each other, like getting more connections about where I'm going to be at certain points, and we scrambles up here. So, yeah, I'm feeling more comfortable.
Cole, just for you specifically, to be playing down the street from where you went to high school, just what's this whole experience been for you?
It's been pretty fun. I mean, I've got a lot of people texting me and coming to the games and like very excited to see me on TV and against big teams and all that. But I mean, it's still, I mean, I treat it like, how do I put this? I mean, it's like, I gotta like prepare the same way, even though I'm like down the street, you know, it's no big deal for me. I kind of act like I'm not in DeKalb, just so I can like kind of focus more on football and school and all that.
But how many years have you been like coming to Husky games and?
I've been coming to games regularly, every home game for sure. So probably like 10. So yeah, it's been a while.
Did you always want to play here?
Growing up, I actually wanted to. When I was younger, I was like, I don't want to be in DeKalb anymore. But then that kind of switched once I started getting into football. I realized how great this program was, and I felt like it was a great opportunity to come here.
Anything else?
Was it tough to sit out a year, though? I know you're a redshirt.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I got to travel last year to every game, so I kind of got the experience doing that. But yeah, it was hard just not being able to play, just sitting on the sideline, just knowing I'm not probably going to go in unless something bad happens.
Yeah.
I guess what's your response to the rule change, seeing that change this year?
It was upsetting. It was because there were games like I probably could have gotten in last year. You know, just played in a couple plays at least for if we were up by a lot or so 4 games to play, and that really upset me when that happened this year. So.
All right, anything else for these guys? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.